Asterisk, a cold blue light flickered above him. His eyes opened slowly, blinking again and again. His breath was shaky, like he had forgotten how to breathe. The room was quiet, too quiet, until a strange voice spoke. "Careful, human, you've been in a coma for over 20 years, the voice said. He turned his head weakly and saw something standing near the bed. It was tall, thin, and not human. Its skin was a soft green, its eyes large and glowing. It wore a white coat and held a strange device in its long fingers. "My name is Velra," the alien said softly. "I am your medical supervisor." The man tried to speak, but his throat was dry like sand. Velra gave him a tube of water, and he drank slowly. His body felt strange, heavy, different. Where am I?" He whispered, voice rough. "You are on Station Elixir 9. Velra answered. "We kept you alive." He tried to sit up, but pain shot through his back and chest. "Easy," Velra warned, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Your muscles are not ready." The man closed his eyes and tried to think. Who was he? What was the last thing he remembered? Then it came, a flash of light, the sound of explosions, a ship shaking, his crew screaming. "I was in a battle," he said, gasping. "Yes," Velra replied. "Your ship was attacked in orbit. It crashed." He looked at his hands. There were scars, ones he didn't remember. His skin looked older than he remembered, more worn. "What's my name?" he asked, voice shaking. "Commander Rex Walker," Velra said. "Human Defense Fleet, Pilot Class A." That name sounded right, but it felt like a story he once read. What happened to Earth? He asked suddenly. Velra paused, then gave a small smile. "Let's talk about that later," she said, turning away. "No," Rex said, stronger now. "Tell me." Velra didn't answer, just tapped something on her device and left the room. Door closed with a hiss, leaving Rex alone. He pulled off the wires stuck to his chest and tried to stand. His legs trembled, knees shaking, but he didn't stop. He held onto the wall and looked around the room. Everything looked alien curved. Walls, glowing panels, strange symbols. He limped to a window and looked outside, space, black and deep, stretched forever beyond the glass, below the station. A giant planet swirled in orange and red clouds. This was not Earth, not even close. A sound behind him made him jump. He turned quickly and saw a small creature peeking from the door crack. It was another alien, smaller, with big yellow eyes. It looked scared but curious. "You awake?" the creature asked in a whisper. "Yes," Rex said slowly. "Who are you?" "I clean the rooms," it said. "I'm not supposed to talk to you." "Please," Rex said. "I need answers." The creature looked around, then stepped closer. "Don't trust Velra," it whispered. "She didn't save you." Rex's heart beat faster. "What do you mean?" he asked, voice tense. "They used you," the alien whispered. "You were part of something bad." Before Rex could ask more, the door opened wide. Velra stepped in with 2 guards behind her. The small alien gasped and ran away. Velra smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Commander Walker," she said calmly, "you need rest, not old stories." Rex stared at her, feeling the lie behind her words. "What did you do to me?" he asked. "We saved your life," she said. "That should be enough." But Rex didn't believe her, not anymore. Later, when the lights dimmed and silence returned, Rex reached under the bed where the small alien had dropped something. It was a tiny black cube, warm to the touch. When he pressed the side, a blue light blinked on. A voice played from inside a recording. "If you're hearing this, they woke you up too soon." The voice said. It was his own voice. Rex's blood turned cold. He didn't remember making this recording. The voice continued. "They're watching you, even now. Don't let them know you remember." Rex looked around the room again, and for the first time, truly felt afraid. Whatever was happening here, it was bigger than a coma, bigger than just one man waking up. Something was wrong, and he had to find out what before it was too late. He held the cube tight in his hand, eyes full of fire. The war might be over, but his fight was just beginning. The floor felt cold under his bare feet. Rex stood in front of the glowing wall, staring at something he could not believe. A giant screen showed a burning flag, Earth's flag, torn and fading into blackness. He touched the wall slowly, heart beating fast. "Is this real?" he whispered, though no one was there to answer. Behind him, the door slid open with a soft hiss. Velra entered quietly, holding a metal tray with food. "You shouldn't be up," she said, voice calm but sharp. Rex didn't turn around, his eyes still locked on the image. "Why is Earth's flag burning?" he asked, voice hard. Velra paused, then said, "It's a memorial, Commander, not a threat." "Looks more like a warning," Rex replied coldly. She set the tray down, walked beside him, and folded her hands. "There's much you don't understand," she said gently. "You were asleep for 22 Earth years." He looked at her then, anger rising like heat in his chest. "You still haven't told me what happened to Earth," he said. Velra took a deep breath, as if choosing her words carefully. "The war didn't end well," she said. "The humans lost badly." Rex stepped back, feeling dizzy again. "No," he muttered. "We had fleets. Alliances, defenses, all gone," Velra said. "The Terran Defense Council surrendered 7 years after you fell." He leaned against the wall, hands shaking. "What happened to my crew?" he asked quietly. "Only you survived," she said, not meeting his eyes. Something felt wrong, too clean, too perfect. If everything was lost, why was he still alive? Why keep him breathing for 2 decades? Rex returned to his bed, not because he was tired, but because he needed time to think. Velra gave him a small tablet with files, old reports, news broadcasts, images of ruined cities and broken ships. Scrolled slowly, his face pale and silent. He saw a crater where New Berlin used to be. A message from the Martian colonies begging for help, and finally, a video of the last human general signing the surrender treaty. Each file stabbed deeper into his heart. Late at night, he couldn't sleep, so he sat alone in the corner, holding the black cube again, the device he had secretly kept hidden since the little alien gave it to him. He pressed the side again, and this time the message was longer. "If you're hearing this, they woke you up too soon," his own voice said again. "You don't remember yet, but they changed you, Rex," the voice continued. "They used your body, rebuilt it, tested it." He looked down at his chest, at the scars he didn't earn. "What are you?" he asked himself. The next day, he walked slowly through the hallway, pretending to need help, pretending to be weak. A few guards passed him without worry, not knowing his strength was returning faster than they expected. He saw a locked door marked with alien text glowing red. A small cleaning droid rolled out, and for a moment, the door stayed open. Rex slipped in before it shut, heart racing. Inside, the air was colder, the lights dim. He walked past tubes filled with strange fluids, machines he couldn't understand. Then he found a terminal, still active, still unlocked. He touched the screen, and a hidden folder opened. Project Echo. He tapped it, and his own face appeared on the screen. Younger, stronger, alive. The video played, his voice calm and direct. "If you've made it this far, that means they haven't wiped your mind yet," he said. "They told me I'd be asleep forever, but I knew better." Rex stared at the screen. "Frozen in place. You agreed to it, Rex," the recorded version of him said. "You let them experiment, thinking it would help win the war." "I thought I was dead," Rex whispered. "No," the video said, as if answering him. "You became something else, something more. Look deeper into the files, and you'll see what they made you do." Rex opened the next file, images of missions. Places he didn't remember going, weapons he didn't remember using. People, both alien and human, lying dead in the snow, fire burning behind them. His name stamped on every report, signed and approved. "No," Rex said out loud, his hands shaking. Suddenly, the room lights flashed red. A voice called out, "Unauthorized access detected." He ran out, heart pounding, hiding the cube again. As he limped back toward his room, a voice echoed behind him. You shouldn't have seen that. He turned. Velra stood there, her eyes cold, her smile gone. You lied to me, Rex said, full of rage. Velra raised her hand slowly. We were trying to protect you. She said, no, he said, stepping back. You were trying to control me. She didn't answer, just watched him like a scientist studying a broken machine. Back in his room, Rex sat in silence. The truth was out, but the puzzle wasn't finished. He wasn't just a survivor, he was something they made, something they feared. And somewhere in this station, someone still remembered the real him. He had to find that person before they erased what little was left of his past. Because now he wasn't just Rex Walker. He was a weapon trying to remember who he was. And the ones who built him were watching, waiting, and ready to strike if he got too close to the truth. A sharp pain shot through Rex's head. He fell to his knees, gripping the metal floor. 1,000 voices whispered inside his skull, broken and layered like shattered glass. Then one voice rose above the others, his own. If you're seeing this, they woke you up too soon. It repeated again, over and over, like a warning left on a loop. But this time, it didn't stop there. New words followed, words that chilled his blood. They didn't save you, Rex. They rewrote you. He opened his eyes and saw the cube glowing again, brighter than before. It wasn't just a message, it was a key. A tiny screen opened from its side, showing a map hidden floors beneath the station, locked from public systems. He wasn't supposed to know they existed, but now he did, and deep in his bones, he felt something strange, a pull. He followed the map that night, moving through service tunnels and narrow air vents. No cameras, no patrols, just silence and shadows. When he reached the hidden sector, a door opened by itself. Inside, everything changed. The walls were different, older, marked with Terran symbols, Earth symbols. He touched one, and it lit up, responding to him like it remembered his touch. There were tanks filled with glowing liquid, and inside them floated things that looked almost human, almost. He stepped closer, and his heart stopped in one of the tanks. He saw a face he recognized, his own younger, expression frozen, wires running through his chest. Then another tank beside it, another version of him, scarred and burned, eyes wide open. Rex stumbled back, breath shaking. They weren't just modifying him, they were copying him, cloning him, testing him, over and over. A console beside the tanks blinked to life, showing files labeled with his name, Rex Walker, V1 through V17. He was number 18, 18 times, he whispered. They rebuilt me 18 times. His memories, those strange flashes of battle, betrayal, faces he didn't know, were not just dreams. They were fragments from the others, the failed ones. Suddenly, the door behind him slid open. A figure entered slowly, smaller than the others, walking carefully. It was the same little alien who had given him the cube. I followed you, the creature said softly. I need to show you something else. Rex didn't speak, just nodded, still in shock. The alien led him to a dark corner of the lab and opened a storage unit. Inside, there were broken devices, old tech, dusty and forgotten. But among them was a black bracelet glowing faintly blue. This, the alien said, belonged to your daughter. Rex froze, staring at the device. My, what? She used to come here, the alien said. She left this behind. She's real? Rex asked, voice cracking. Yes, the creature said. She tried to save you, but they took her. A flood of emotion hit Rex like a wave he had. A daughter. She had lived on this station, and she had fought for him, tried to wake him. He grabbed the bracelet and placed it on his wrist. A tiny light blinked, and then a voice played, soft, gentle, and young. Dad, it said, if you ever hear this, I love you. I'm sorry I couldn't wait. The voice cracked at the end like she had been crying. Rex's fists clenched, fury and sorrow crashing together in his chest. They didn't just steal his body. They stole his life, his memories, his child. He turned to the little alien. Where did they take her? Level Omega, it said. The place where no one returns. Before Rex could move, alarms began to scream through the lab. Unauthorized presence detected in Biolab Echo. The speakers called out. Security drones activated. The little alien pulled on Rex's hand. Go now, take the service pipe. Rex ran, the bracelet tight on his arm, the cube in his pocket, and the fire of truth burning in his veins. Every step echoed with purpose now, every breath driven by one thought. Find his daughter, no matter the cost. He wasn't just a project, a weapon, or a test anymore. He was a father, a soldier, and a man reclaiming everything they took from him. And this time, they would see what a real human could do when he remembered who he was. Behind him, the lab exploded in white light, wiping the files, erasing the clones. But it didn't matter, Rex had already learned the truth. And he wasn't going to stop until he found her, even if it meant tearing down the station piece by piece. Asterisk. The escape shaft roared with wind as Rex dropped into darkness. He landed hard on a metal floor, coughing in the dust, but he didn't stop. His hand gripped the bracelet tighter. It still blinked with a soft blue light. The sound of footsteps echoed from behind him, too many to count. But Rex moved forward, limping, pushing through the dim tunnel lit only by emergency lights. His mind wasn't on the pain, it was on her, the voice that called him, Dad. He had never known her, but now her voice lived inside him like fire, up ahead. The tunnel ended in a sealed door marked OMEGA. He pressed his palm against the panel, hoping, praying. To his surprise, the door opened with a hiss, not locked, but watching, waiting. Inside was silence, not the kind that comforts, but the kind that warns. The air felt thick, and the light was dim, glowing red like blood. Long rows of metal pods lined the walls, each one marked with strange alien numbers, and between them, cameras watched. Always blinking, always awake, he moved carefully, slowly, until one pod caught his eye. It wasn't like the others, it was cracked open. The inside covered in frost and glowing hair strands. A nameplate stuck to the side, scratched and worn, but still readable. It said, Subject L17, Hybrid Walker. Rex's heart skipped. He reached inside and found a small toy, a plastic figure of a human soldier. The kind a little girl might hide under her pillow. She had been here, in this pod, locked away like an experiment. His fists trembled, rage building with every second. Then he heard a soft sound, like a sob, echoing down the corridor. He followed it quiet as he could, until he reached a glass room. Inside was a girl, maybe 16, her hair silver blue, her eyes glowing faintly with human sadness. She sat alone, hugging her knees, whispering to herself. Rex stared, frozen, something inside him saying this was her, his daughter. He pressed his hand to the glass, but she didn't see him. Suddenly, a door behind her opened, and Velra stepped inside. Her face looked different now, colder, sharper. She spoke gently, but the words carried poison. You're not ready yet, child, Velra said. You keep asking for your father, but he's gone. No, the girl whispered. He's alive, I know it. Velra leaned close, brushing her hair back like a mother would. But even if he is, he won't remember you, Velra said. We erased him too many times. Rex gritted his teeth, every part of him screaming to break through the glass. The girl looked down, tears falling onto the floor. My name is Lena, she whispered to herself. And my father is Rex Walker. Rex couldn't breathe. The moment shattered when a red light blinked on the wall, an alert. Security breach in lower levels. A robotic voice said, Target, Rex Walker. Velra turned sharply, eyes wide. She looked directly at the glass where Rex now stood. Their eyes met for the first time without lies. Impossible, Velra hissed. Slamming her fist on the panel, Rex raised his hand slowly and placed it against the glass again. Lena turned, saw him, and gasped. Dad? She whispered, standing, Velra activated a control, and a thick wall slammed down between them. No, Lena screamed. No, please. Rex banged his fists against the wall, but it didn't move. Velra was already dragging Lena away, calling for guards. Rex turned and ran back into the corridor. The image of her face burned into his soul. He found another access panel and forced it open with bare hands. Inside were blueprints. The station had a hidden exit. Deep below Omega level, a secret that even Velra hadn't deleted. Maybe because she thought no one would ever get this far, Rex memorized the path, then looked back toward where Lena had been. "I'm coming for you," he whispered. He moved fast now, dodging drones, avoiding patrols. He entered a hangar full of rusted equipment and found a transport pod, just big enough for one. Before leaving, he reached into his pocket and pulled out the cube. "Tell me everything I forgot," he sighed. The cube's light blinked twice, then displayed a full memory log. The final entry showed a much younger Rex recording a message. "She's part human, part them," he said. "They fear what she could become. She's not a weapon, she's my daughter, and I'll burn this place to the ground before I let them break her." Rex stared at the screen, then whispered the words again to himself. Not a weapon, not a test subject, not a mistake. She was his. He gripped the pod's controls and launched toward the hidden sector beneath the station, because no matter how deep they buried her, no matter how many lies they told, Rex Walker was done sleeping, and the galaxy was about to remember what humans could really do. The pod shook as it dropped through the metal tunnels beneath the station. Alarms blared behind him, voices shouted in alien code, but Rex didn't look back. He kept his eyes forward, locked on the path ahead. The bracelet on his wrist blinked again, and Lena's voice whispered, "If you ever hear this, I love you." The words gave him strength, more than any machine could. The pod crashed through the final hatch, landing with a hard thud in an old maintenance bay. Dust covered everything, like this place hadn't been touched in years. He stepped out, coughing, hand on the wall for balance. The place was dark, but not dead. Some machines still hummed softly. Hidden in the shadows, he moved quickly, following the map burned into his memory. He didn't have time, not now, not with Velra moving Lena somewhere deeper, somewhere worse. Then he heard it, metal footsteps, too fast, too heavy to be human. He ducked behind a broken shuttle and peeked out. Tall metal figures walked through the corridor, red lights glowing on their heads. Kill drones, armored and silent, programmed to hunt without mercy. Rex had seen them in the war, but now they were upgraded, faster, smarter. They had been made for war, and now they were guarding his daughter. He waited for the right moment, then moved like a shadow. Every step was silent, every breath controlled. He grabbed a pipe from the ground and crept up behind the last drone. With one clean strike, he smashed its core, sparks flying into the air. The others turned too late. He was already gone, disappearing into the darkness. He reached a sealed door marked Biozone, danger. No guards, no alarms, just silence, the kind that made his skin crawl. He placed his hand on the panel. Nothing happened. Then he remembered the bracelet and raised it to the scanner. The door opened, slow and loud, like it hadn't moved in years. Inside was something worse than any prison. Rows of cages, some broken, some still sealed. Creatures inside, part human, part alien, all of them wrong. He walked past one cage and saw a boy with glowing veins, whispering numbers to himself. Another girl sat in the corner of her cell, rocking back and forth, her eyes completely black. Rex felt sick. These were failed projects like him, but not lucky enough to wake whole. They were trying to make more like Lena. He found a control room and searched through files, fingers shaking. A document blinked open. Subject L-17. Transferred to core facility. There was a note from Velra. Walker has breached the station. Relocate the hybrid immediately. Rex slammed his fist into the console. Sparks flying. He was always one step behind. But he wouldn't stop now. A soft voice behind him said, "You shouldn't be here." He turned fast. Pipe raised, then froze. It was one of the failed hybrids, but she wasn't like the others. She looked almost human, scared, but calm. "Do you know Lena?" he asked her. The girl nodded slowly. "She was kind. She gave me food." "Where did they take her?" Rex asked. The girl looked up, eyes glowing faint gold. Core facility is not on this station anymore, she said. It was moved after the rebellion. Rex stepped back, heart pounding. Moved? He asked, where? The girl pointed to a screen on the wall. Showing a star map. There, she said. A hidden facility orbiting the dead moon. Rex memorized the coordinates, but the girl grabbed his hand. If you go there, they'll find you before you get close, she whispered. They're watching every jump point. He nodded slowly, then looked around the room. I need something that can get me past their scans, he said. The girl walked to a drawer and pulled out a small silver disc. It cloaks life signs for 10 minutes, she said. That's all I have. Rex took it, eyes full of fire. Thank you, he said, and turned to leave. Before he stepped out, the girl called softly, tell her. She wasn't alone. Rex nodded once, then disappeared into the corridor. He raced back to the old shuttle bay and found an abandoned warfighter ship. Half of it was rust. The other half was hope. He jumped into the cockpit and slammed the controls. Engines screamed to life, lights blinking red. He set the course to the dead moon, cloak device ready, heart burning, because now he knew where she was. And if they thought they could hide her forever, they were wrong. He wasn't just coming to knock on the door. He was coming to break it down. Rex Walker was done running. Now it was their turn to run. Asterisk. The stars twisted around the ship as it tore through space. Rex gripped the controls tight, the cloak disc blinking its countdown 10 minutes. The old fighter creaked with every pulse of speed, but it held together. He saw the dead moon come into view. Pale, broken, and quiet. Orbiting it was a black station shaped like a claw, gripping the rock like a parasite. No lights blinked, no ships flew nearby. But Rex wasn't fooled. This place was made to hide, not welcome. He flew close to the dark side, using shadows to slip past the defense grid. One wrong move and he'd be dust. But he didn't care. The only thing that mattered now was inside that station, his daughter. The countdown reached 0, and the cloak blinked off. In that moment, alarms lit up across the station. They had found him, but he was already too close. He slammed the controls and crash-landed onto a maintenance deck, metal screaming under the weight. Fire burst from the side of the ship, but Rex leapt out before the fuel caught. Drones swarmed the landing site like bees, their red eyes locked onto him. He ran through a maintenance tunnel, turning sharply into darkness. His memory guided him. The station was built from old Terran designs. He knew where they would hide the control core, and that's where they would keep her. He kicked open a sealed hatch and dropped into a central spine full of wires and steam. Voices echoed through his earpiece. Velra's voice, sharp and cold. You can't save her. Rex, she said. She belongs to us now. He ripped the earpiece out and crushed it underfoot. No more lies. He pushed through a pressure door and found himself in a clean, white corridor. It was too clean. No dust, no noise, just stillness. He moved like a shadow, past labs and storage rooms until he saw her again. Lena, strapped to a metal chair, her arms bound, her eyes wide with fear. Her hair glowed faintly in the sterile light. And standing beside her was Velra, calm as ever, holding a silver syringe. Rex stepped forward and shouted, "Get away from her!" Velra didn't flinch, just turned slowly. "You shouldn't have come," she said. "This was your doing, not mine." Rex raised a stolen plasma cutter, light humming in his hands. "I'm not here to argue," he said. "I'm here to take her back." Lena looked at him, tears filling her eyes. "Dad," she whispered, voice shaking. "They told me you were a dream." Rex stepped closer slowly, never taking his eyes off Velra. "I was real," he said. "And I always came back." Velra sighed and dropped the syringe. "I warned them this would happen," she said, stepping aside. But as Rex moved to free Lena, the floor split open behind them. A massive machine rose up, part metal, part flesh, its core glowing blue. It was another version of him, Project Echo, version 19, faster, bigger, stronger. A perfect weapon made from his DNA. Rex pushed Lena behind him and readied the cutter. The creature spoke in a deep, hollow voice. I am what you could have been. It said, you are obsolete. Rex charged forward with fire in his chest. Steel clashed, sparks flew. The battle shook the entire level. Rex took hit after hit. His body bleeding, bones screaming, but he didn't fall. Because every time he looked at Lena, he remembered what he was fighting for. Not for glory, not for revenge, but for love, for blood, for family. He jammed the cutter deep into the machine's chest. And it roared in pain. Then Rex whispered, tell Velra. Humans don't break. The machine exploded in light, throwing Rex back against the wall. Silence followed. Then small arms wrapped around him, Lena shaking and crying. I thought I'd never see you again. She sobbed. I'm here now, he whispered, holding her close. And I'm not leaving. They turned to see Velra gone, only her empty coat left behind. Rex helped Lena walk as they limped toward the escape lift. Alarms echoed all around. But they didn't stop moving. The war wasn't over yet, but for now he had won. Not because of his strength, not because of machines, but because he remembered who he was, and because a daughter had whispered Dad through walls, cages, and lies. The lift closed behind them, and the station shook above, but Rex held her hand tight, and this time he wasn't letting go. The escape pod burst through the station's lower hull just as the alarms reached full pitch. Rex and Lena were inside, shoulder to shoulder, the control panel flashing red warnings. He pushed buttons without looking, guiding the pod into a cold drift toward the dead moon's shadow. Behind them, the black station cracked like ice, explosions dancing across its skin. But Rex didn't watch it fall. His eyes stayed on her. She was staring out the window, silent, hugging her knees. For the first time, she looked more like a child than a weapon. Are you hurt? He asked softly. She shook her head slowly, then said, they told me I was dangerous. You're not, Rex said, voice rough but gentle. You're mine. The silence between them was full of broken pieces, things left unsaid. But the bond was there, real and growing with every second. A beacon lit up ahead, an old Terran colony ship drifting in orbit. One of the last human sanctuaries. Rex sent a signal, praying someone would answer. A voice crackled through the speaker. This is Colony Arc 7. Identify yourself. He leaned forward and said, Commander Rex Walker, requesting emergency docking. I have a survivor. There was a pause, then the voice returned, stunned. Rex Walker? You were declared dead 20 years ago. I got better, he muttered. And Lena smiled faintly for the first time. The pod locked onto the docking lane, and gentle arms of the colony ship guided them in. When the doors opened, armed guards stood waiting, but not with guns raised, with eyes wide and faces full of shock. An older woman stepped forward, gasping. Rex? She said, voice trembling. Is that really you? He recognized her instantly. Captain Mayra Voss, his old second-in-command. She ran to him and hugged him tight, then looked at Lena, confused. This is my daughter, Rex said simply. Her name is Lena. Mira blinked, then slowly smiled. You better come inside. They walked through steel halls that still smelled like old war stories and burnt wiring. People stared, whispered. Some even cried when they saw him. To them he was a ghost walking among the living. But to Rex, it felt like waking up again, in the medical bay. Doctors scanned Lena gently, checking her vitals, whispering with nervous hands. They had never seen anything like her, part human, part something else. She's stable, one doctor finally said. But her memory might take time to come back fully. Lena looked at Rex, holding onto his hand like it was the last thing she trusted. I remember you, she whispered. I remember your voice in my dreams. And I remember your laugh, Rex said, smiling softly. Though I've never heard it yet. She gave a small, broken laugh then. And that was enough. Later, they sat in a quiet room, a window showing the stars. Rex stared at the void, thinking of everything that was gone, his crew, his ship, the war. But then he looked at Lena, alive beside him, and it felt like enough. You know, he said, they tried to erase me. Lena nodded slowly. They tried to erase me too. But they failed, he said. Because humans remember, she whispered. Because we fight, he added. The ship's commander offered him a place, a role, a future. But Rex only asked for one thing, peace. A small place on the edge of the colony where he and Lena could live. Away from machines, wires, and lies. Together, they planted a tree, the first one on the new soil. It wasn't big, not yet, but it was growing, just like her, just like him. And as the sun rose over the edge of the world, Rex held her hand, not as a soldier, not as a weapon, but as a father, and for the first time in over 20 years, he was finally awake. Asterisk.